This video would not have been possible without our sponsor, LDO Motors, so thank you to them for supporting live streams on Vector 3D. For more information on their VORON v0.1 kit and other products, keep on watching or follow the link in the video description. Right, good evening everyone. Hopefully you can hear me okay, and welcome back to another Vector 3D live stream where we're working on the VORON v0 kit from LDO Motors. So as you can see, I have done a little bit more since the previous episode. Well, not very much. I just basically finished the top hat, which is like the remainder of the enclosure, which I didn't have time to do. So that's just a few panels, a few printed parts, a few heated inserts, but it does mean that the whole mechanical thing is now done and looks a little bit like that. And I added some stickers as well, and I finished the door. So that's all looking pretty good and ready to go. The back panel is off just to give me plenty of space to wiggle things around and poke in SD cards and that sort of malarkey. But we'll get that at least partly closed up today as we do the first print, which is all very exciting. I am actually going to stick on one of these printed bed surfaces. I'm not sure it needs to be cleaned. I mean, it does need to be clean, but I've not really touched it very much, so it's probably clean enough. That one's probably fairly durable, so hopefully if we do have any issues, that one will be okay. Right, so the plan today is to firstly configure all the firmware, so fluid pi, clipperizing, getting the firmware on, doing a bit of probably some configuration because I'm guessing it's all not set up all perfectly straight out of the box. And then we'll do a first print. I've got profile from Super Slicer, so that's kind of all ready to go. That's pretty much it. That is the plan. In terms of doing the firmware setup, I'm not going to go through it in like immense detail. I've done a little bit already, just getting the Wi-Fi and stuff onto the SD card, and that is in there, but I'll show you very briefly what I've done. If you want a bit more details, I did go through it in a little bit more depth for my VORON 2.4 build, and the whole process is pretty much the same. So you can probably follow along. Combination of that and this, and you should have everything you need. Right, good to see everyone here. I'm sure we'll have some more people joining us a little bit sooner, a little bit later rather. Normally Sundays is like the prime time for me, but it looks like it's a little bit quieter than normal. Maybe people have been doing other things today. Anyway, getting on with firmware. So it is going to be the first probably half an hour, 45 minutes, maybe even up to an hour. It's going to be mostly looking at this second screen. We don't need to view the top-down camera really, do we? Let's not look at that. Okay. So this is really the instructions I'm kind of following. So on your docs.vorondesign.com website, they've got a software installation section. I'm going to be doing fluid. Mainsail looks fairly similar, but I'm going to be doing fluid. That's what I have a bit of familiarity with. And of course we've got fluid. Yeah, so oh dear. So for installing fluid, you basically go here, get the release, download the zip file, and then use Balena Etcher or Raspberry Pi Imager tools. So I'll just show you those so you have some reference. I don't think I did all the links this time, so that's Raspberry Pi, and this is Balena Etcher. So either of those allow you to choose a file and flash it to an SD card. So that's what I've already done. Once you've done the actual flash itself, you can modify the, probably shows in here, the supplicant, WPA supplicant, whatever it's called file, fluid WPA supplicant.txt, and that allows you to put your Wi-Fi and stuff in. Best practice is to upgrade and upgrade. I haven't done that. I'm not going to do that. It took quite a while last time. It's probably worth doing if you're not in a rush. Well, I'm not really in a rush, but I don't think we all just want to watch code run by for 10 minutes. So I'm going to skip that today, but I would recommend doing it. So, assuming we've already done that, we're ready to power the printer on for the first time. So I've put my SD card in here. So this is what I'm using, SanDisk 8GB. I decided not to use the one that came with it, and that's not a commentary on the quality of this SD card. It's more the fact that I've already got like 4 sitting in a little tub next to me. I'm going to keep using the ones that I kind of are cycling through. If I need a new one in the future, I'll get this one out of the packet. They're just a little bit less, well, a little bit less easy to lose, a little bit harder to lose when they're in a big red packet. So that one can be kept as a backup for when I make a mess of something, or have more and more Raspberry Pis, which seems to be the case at the moment. So we need a power cable, and it's time to speak for yourself, let the code fly. If you use Raspberry Pi Imager, there's a secret menu where you can set Wi-Fi before the image creation. I think I did see that actually, to be fair. That's a good point. I mean, if it was a less secret menu, it would probably be more useful, wouldn't it? Let's be honest. So everything is plugged in. We should turn on, we should see some lights on here, we should see some lights on here, and no smoke. If we see smoke, this is not a good thing. That's a very stiff switch. No smoky, no burny. That looks pretty good. Something made a little buzzy noise. Hopefully that's fine. So, hopefully this is maybe doing some things. Hopefully it should connect to my Wi-Fi, and then we should be able to find it at fluidpi.local. I'm just going to double check that it's connected to the network. It is. Here we go. So this is our unconfigured, unset up base configuration for Fluid. Yeah, this is, yeah, it's really, I just don't know how long I want it at the moment, so it's just staying that long until I can be bothered to, you know, cut it. Let's see where we get to. Control-Shift-X, let's give it a go on the Raspberry Pi Imager tool for the secret settings. So if we do Control-Shift-X, there you go. So you can configure Wi-Fi straight from here, put in your SSID and your password. You can set your location as well. That's quite nice. You can do host names and SSH, all that stuff. So Control-Shift-X for that. Very nice little setup menu which will help you just avoid a little bit, well, to be honest, it's not a major downside, but if you're doing it quite a few times, it's probably quite nice to be able to just flash it all directly in one go. So, what are we doing? We need to flash some firmware. So we need to flash firmware to the actual control board. rather than, so we've got the firmware set up for this, we need the firmware set up for that. And we're using SKI Mini E3 V2. So we're going to go here, and we're going to go SSH to the Raspberry Pi. So this was, no, I'm going to call this. So by saving this, it just makes it a little bit quicker to save next time. I think you can put a password in somewhere as well, but that's good enough for me. So login as Pi and password is Raspberry as normal. That's all just basic setup. So we need to find the kind of make menu. Oh, this is installing it first. This will allow us to basically create the firmware for the control board. So that just changes directory to the Klipper directory, which we presumably just made. Can we zoom in on this? Oh, we don't want to paste. No, stop pasting. So this is where we configure how we're going to set up the image, and this gives us the instructions that we need to do it. So this wants to be set to STM32, set the processor to F103, already selected, the 28 kilobit bootloader, clock reference to 8 MHz crystal, communications to use USB, yeah. Okay, I'm not going to modify that. Ensure the GPIO pins to set microcontroller startup includes cool, okay. So we've got that all set up, and now we can save and quit. Q to quit, Y to save. That's all then sorted. Run the following, make clean, and then make. So this is now going to be compiling our little firmware piece. I don't know if compiling, oh yes, look, it is actually compiling, that is the right word. It's making our little firmware configuration file for our board. And I believe we can do a direct flash. Sometimes you need to copy the firmware file off of the Raspberry Pi onto an SD card and then into there. Hopefully we can do direct flash with this. We'll see how it goes. It looks like we're going to have to do copy and paste according to these instructions that I'm just reading. So this LDO kit board came with a 128 megabyte SD card. I think that's enough for the firmware file. It's a pretty tiny file. It's almost certainly enough. Wonderful, that's been created. So drop the SD card into the computer, and we're going to do an SSH session. So again, similar to what I did before. Oh, we don't want to upgrade right now. 192.168.1.109. No, hang on. I think I might have typed it wrong. Yeah. So this is now the files on the control board, and I believe it's in here, isn't it? No. I've forgotten. Home Pi Klipper out. Klipper out. Klipper.bin, is that the one? Yep. So we're going to copy that, and I'm going to paste it in here. And we're going to copy and paste that again, just so we've got a copy of it. And then we're going to call that, I think it has to be all caps. Oh no, it's not, is it? Just firmware.bin. And then we are going to copy that onto the SD card. Job's good. And then that can go into the control board. I'm going to turn everything off. I know everyone's going to tell me you need to power off the Pi properly. I do agree, it's just faster to do it this way for live streaming. So when that turns on, that should now see that file. It'll read it and go, oh yes, I shall read this file to create some things. So you can hear, this is what I just did. Copy to the desktop, rename it firmware.bin. It doesn't, you don't have to do it to the desktop, it's just a location that you can access, is fine. Ensure it's not powered, remove the SD card that is installed, connect the micro SD card to the computer, then finally, board is not powered. I've removed it once powered up previously. I can't remember how long it takes exactly, but we'll assume that that's long enough. And then we can double check that it's all works. There you go, firmware.current. It's just a huge file. Cool, so that's all good. Now we don't need that SD card, so that's another one to go in the spare pile of SD cards. It says replace the, turn on the power supply, if named properly the SD card will automatically update Klipper firmware. If any of the three is not powered, Klipper will be unable. Okay, cool. I'm pretty sure it'll run fine without that now. To software configuration. So now we need our printer config file, which is like the text file that configures all the parameters. So we've got this one, so it does this, and then you have to save it as this, and then save it as this, and then you have to rename it, and it's all a bit weird. But basically you want this to have this, but without the txt at the end. It's still a text file. And this is all the configuration stuff. So we're now going to move this to the Raspberry Pi using WinSCP. So we'll close that session. We don't need that. And we'll create a new one on this. It won't work though unless it's turned on, so make sure you turn the printer on. Can you just restart this one? Not sure. Let's just close it and try again. Oh dear. Hopefully it's not decided to get a new IP address, that would be kind of annoying. There we go. And I didn't want putty, that's completely the wrong thing. WinSCP is what I want. Oh, come on. So this is going to go to a specific place. So Klipper config. Hang on, no. Okay, yeah. Klipper underscore config is what we want, I think, isn't it? This is what we want. So we're going to just do that. Oh, it was over here, wasn't it? Cool. So that's in there now. Config file. I think if we go into here, we should now see that. Yeah, so we're going to have issues because we've got to configure this firmware file, but what was next on the instructions? Editing. There are many ways of editing the config file. Maintain and Fluid both offer Printer.c editors using Nano through SSH is simple, but not always user-friendly. So hopefully there's some instructions in this file. There normally is, or there has been previously, I think. There you go. So we need to, because you can't zoom in on that other page, but you can zoom in here. So if we zoom in and then open it again, then it's zoomed in. So this again tells you some information on the setup, which we've already done. Things to check or change: MCU path, Z and extruder motor currents. I think the MCU path seemed to actually work okay, but also maybe not. I can't remember. Oh, here we go. Return destination by this. So we're going to copy that. Can we just do command prompt here? I don't know if this is going to work. Huh, it does. Sort of, I think. Is this what we need? Not sure. Dev serial USB. Yeah, let's take that. There we go. Turns out the only bit you're really changing is this ID bit at the end. So we've done this. Z and extruder motor currents. What kind of stuff of motor you have? Printer Core XY. I can't remember what our V1.8. Yeah, we're 1.8 degree stepper motors. Set to 400 for 0.9. Yeah, so we've got to do. You need to check the, because you do this like motor buzz thing to help you configure the directions. I think it's a TR, yeah, 4-start. That should be 8mm per rotation. For OMC, for LDO, well, we've definitely got LDOs, so we're going to go with that. can't remember if this is the E3D or that. Presumably this is right. LDO, I've gone for the default one, hopefully. Extruder, LDO here. Doosh, doosh, doosh. And new pads, PID. So we do need to obviously do our own PID calibration. Make a list, I always forget things. Thermistor, fan control. Depending on the fan, you may need to decrease this value. Hemming and gantry to be used as bed screws. Cool, okay. I'm not exactly sure what temperature sensor we have. NTC 100K B3950. What page are we on? Oh, B3950 using LDO kits. Is that where it wants that? Why is that all formatted really strange? I feel like I'm not doing this quite right. Full steps, thermistor types. See sensor types listed at the end of the file. Sensor type. I think that probably was the right place then. Extruder, Bosch. And then we need the one for Kineva heater pad, is this. So we should have one for is that the same one? Yeah. What else did we need to do? PID tune, E-steps, and more info. So let's give that a save and a restart. Yeah, so we just need to add these things in. Configuration. I'm just going to zoom down to the bottom and we'll just add these down here. Where did I just paste this from? Display status. Pause resume. And some macros. Can we just chuck these in here as well? I think normally you would put them in a separate file to keep it more organized. Right, that looks a little bit more happy. Don't know why that zoomed all the way down there. So we've gone through that, we reviewed it. MCU path, thermistor type, stepper settings, end stop, max position, stepper type, bed screw, tilt, quad gantry position, Z end stop location. Printer definitions, controller path, second controller path, printer specific settings. I think we've gone through most of this. Include fluid.cfg. Or is that what includes all those? Okay, hang on a minute, let's go back here. So these are requirements of fluid, and it comes in that configuration file, so we don't need all this stuff that we just pasted in. The better thing to do is to go to the top and just add a kind of definition thing up here. We're going to include this configuration file in our configuration, because that CFG includes all that stuff that we just pasted in. So that's a much quicker way of doing that. Restart next, initial startup. Now, I do want to try and copy a bit of configuration for my VORON 2.4, because I didn't quite like the buzzer method of getting everything set up. That was a little bit weird and backwards to me. Let's do a quick ad spot for the sponsor.
This video would not have been possible without our sponsor, LDO Motors. LDO Motors are well known for their quality stepper motors that feature in many 3D printers. But did you know they also do complete kits for VORON 3D printers? Their VORON v0.1 kit has everything you need, with the exception of the printed parts, taking sourcing from your living nightmare to the easiest part of the process. LDO's focus on quality means that you don't need to worry about component choice. This kit includes genuine Bondtech gears, Big Tree Tech control board, Fatus hot end, pre-installed Kinovo heater with thermal fuse, stainless steel linear rails, and a beautifully anodized extrusion frame available in 7 different colours. With every kit you'll also get their brass heat insert tool, which, when fitted to a soldering iron, is the ideal partner for adding threaded inserts to your printed parts. If you're after an entryway into high-performance 3D printing, check out the VORON v0.1 kit from LDO Motors via the link in the video description, or carry on watching to find out more.
So, going to add in this VORON configuration. In fact, I'm going to keep it as fluid for a minute, because this is my VORON 2.4, and I want to just double check some configuration stuff in here, because what we added in was useful. Force move enable true. So this is a thing that allows you to move things when you shouldn't be allowed to move things. Normally you'd have to home everything if you want to move, so if you want to... Yeah. Why is it? Oh, shit. That's bizarre. I think this is... If you've got more than one fluid instance, don't use the fluid thing. Go to the right IP address. I think that's what's doing it. Here we go, SKR. So what was happening there is the VORON 2.4 configuration file was opening up from the wrong place. So by enabling force move, we get a command that allows us to move the axes set kinematic position. That will set everything to 0, and that will then, it's kind of like it's just homed in its current position, and then you can move things. So let's restart that. Let's flip this around. Oh, the joys of a tiny printer. How easy you are to move. A little bit conscious of sticking my fingers in things. So let's manually move this to a centralish position. It's difficult to tell where central is on such a tiny printer. And what we're going to do is put in this magic command. Boom. So that's now set everything to 0, and now we should be able to move things. So this should be X positive, which would be that way. That's right. This would be Y negative, which would be towards us. Y positive, let's do then. That's good. And then for Z, and then down, that's perfect. Well, down as in closer to nozzle, and up as in further from nozzle. Hello, Retrocare. That is a cute printer, isn't it? This VORON v0.1 is the most adorable little thing we've ever seen. So that configuration was easy because everything just goes exactly where I wanted it to. So normally you do that kind of buzzer thing, and I just find that annoying and confusing. Well, it's not really confusing, it's just, it moves such a tiny amount, and it's kind of, unless you watched the first one, you're like, is it moving the positive way or the negative way? It's just annoying. So by doing that force move, it just allows you to really control, yes, we're going definitely the right direction, or no, we're definitely not. So we've done that. So now we're going to query end stops. Now I think there's also a better way to do this. So if we go to the tune option, this tells you all your end stops. So if you refresh that, it tells they're all open. And now we can go and prod each one of them with our finger, if I can remember where they are. So this is the X one over here. So we refresh that again. X is now triggered. Take it off, there you go. And then we've got Y, which is right at the difficult to reach. And do that again, triggered and not triggered. And of course Z, a bit more difficult to press because it's a tiny little button. Triggered, open, excellent. Oh, this printer will easily fit inside the VCore 3 and the 2.4, I think. 2.4 might have a bit of a vertical issue. I'm not sure. I mean, they both have vertical issues, to be fair. It's 370mm tool. But if you took that top bit off, it's then only 290. So it would fit in the volume, the build volume of the VCore 3. Initial startup. So that's end stops. That was very easy. Homing check. So let's do a quick homing thing. Let's have a look at this. Stop. Homing check. So what I do want to be really careful of is driving the nozzle into the bed really, really hard. And because the end stop position is not particularly set up, there's nothing to stop it being in a really odd place. So these knobs are not particularly nice to turn. They kind of hurt my fingers, I'm not going to lie. But those springs are now reasonably tight, so they should not come undone. ideally we want an emergency stop button. Let's go for a home all. Oh, well, let's do them one at a time. That would be the safe option, wouldn't it? That's X, that's fine. That's Y, that's also fine. So let's do all. That's not so fine. So we need to take the lid off because we need to move this whole switch down. That's going to be annoying, isn't it? Unless we can get this significantly further down. No, I'm not sure that's going to go much further at all. So we do need to probably move that down. Well, it's double-sided. Actually, that's a good point. The PEI one, the smooth one, has a nothing side, so we can definitely use that. But I do now need to take the lid off, which is kind of annoying. Because we got, I think the most annoying part about the V0 is the nuts. They're just all over the place. Oh shit. I may have just lost a screw into the motor. It's like the last place that you want a screw to go. Little magnet gets it out super easily. So we need to get this down. Oh, even that's not enough. Right, we're going to have to go flexible, I think. Oh, that's then not ball. Oh, this is annoying. I guess we can undo this. Screw in the back by the lead screw adjusts Z. It does. Thank you. Thank you for the tip too. Very kind. So the reason I was not doing that as my first port of call is because I think I didn't screw it in very hard to begin with, and I didn't want it to come out. And I was a long way off. It wasn't just like a little bit. It was like quite a chunk. So I opted for a different option, but it does not work. I can pretty much certainly see that it's still not enough. And that's the end of that. Yeah, so that screw is basically at its limit already. We definitely need some more millimeters, unfortunately. And the only way I'm going to get to that screw I think. That's that one. Can I get to the other one? If I move the bed out of the way. I don't know if that's possible to get to that screw. Maybe one of the Allen keys that came with it might be enough. Yeah, could try longer screw. That's a pretty good shout, actually. If this doesn't work, that will be the next port of call. Oops, unfortunately, these big handles are just a little bit long. Hopefully this will work. Yes, we're there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now... Why is that lead screw black? Some type of coating? It is some type of coating. To be honest, I'm not exactly sure what the coating is. But it is a coating. It's not, I'm pretty sure it's not palm. That's still probably whatever it is. So. Oh, will Z go? No. Oops, a daisy. Oh, just go up, goddamn thing. I know what I'll do. I think we have a bit of a current problem. Seems to be either a friction problem or a current problem, because it is an amount of friction that it did not like. Teflon coated, maybe it is. I wasn't aware that was a thing, but I'm happy to be wrong. That looks suspiciously like it's not going to reliably touch that button. It's right on the edge of the screw. Okay, so how long have we been going? Nearly an hour. Okay, this is not too bad. I guess we could home there. That would be acceptable, I think. No. Yes. We just need a place for this gosh darn end stop switch. Okay. This should get us a home all. Hopefully. Please. Nope. As I suspected. Ah, this is a problem, isn't it? So, what's going on here? So, the Z end stop switch is, maybe if I move this out of the way, maybe you'll just see a bit better. The Z end stop switch here needs to touch on this thing over here. So there's like a screw in here, but it's fixed to this. The position of this was just like, oh, just get it somewhere in the middle. So like, it didn't really tell you how important it was, but in fact it's very important because this can't adjust in that direction. This is kind of fixed by all of this. So unless you put this part in exactly the right place, that screw just won't touch the end stop. Now the only way to adjust that is by the screws that are down here. To get to those, you have to take this panel off. To get the panel off, you have to take all the electronics out. So that's not ideal. One way we could do it is to try and put something a little bit thicker . A little bit wider on the top of that screw head. I don't know what I've got. Ooh, there are screw holes down there. Ooh! Good shout, Alan. I just noticed that. So you can, if you see down here, you see there's two little holes right in the bottom. Back in there. Boosh, there and there. They might be just for this. They also might not be. I know it's not great to push the bed like that, but it's also the fastest way to move the bed. Unfortunately, this is now really well stuck down. We've sort of blocked those holes. God damn it. What have I got I can put on the top of the screw to make it wider? Or have I got a wider head M3 screw? I don't think a cap head's going to make enough difference. Can you measure if the lead screw is in the exact middle of those the extrusions? Drill a new hole. We're going to try drilling a new hole. Of course, we've already got the hole there, we just need to drill it through. So I'm just going to try and get all these wires out the way, so we can make a new hole. That should be enough. Question is, can we get a drill in there? Kind of need to get the drill in here. I'm not sure my Z line's up even here. When did that... Did I even do any alignment for that? I'm not sure I did. This is going to be fun. Even drilling acrylic is never really a good idea because it has a tendency to break quite easily. Okay, we don't really have to drill the acrylic, so that's okay. So this should be quite easy. Provided we can get the drill in here. I feel like an upside down approach is going to be the way. I'm going to move this top out of the way before I accidentally chuck it off the desk. I mean, holy shit. Ooh. I was about to say, finding the actual screw I'm looking for through a hole where I can't see anything is optimistic, but it looks like it's possible. It's not a lot of light. Well, the drive to rush is to get it finished. Oh, we are already an hour in, so we've got an hour to fix this problem, sort of. New subscriber! Welcome! Thing is, I think it's now just going to be driven by the position of the lead screw, because it's short, being small and all. This isn't going to work without this. Because the lead screw is quite short, there's not a lot of, well, it doesn't obviously wiggle very much. It's rigidly mounted and it's a steel rod, so we can adjust that as well, I think, from the base. What's funny is that they make these holes so small. Like, I know you want to make a heated chamber and everything, but some slightly more generous holes would be much appreciated. And I think the LDO instructions need an update to make sure you don't cover those, because you don't really need this much thing. I mean, cutting it off here would be fine, cutting it off here would be fine. So just making sure you keep those holes available for fixing stuff. At least we've got X and Y working nicely. I know you can't see, I do apologise. Right, that's actually worked. So now we need to go all the way back down to the bottom of the Z. Is it 100? I think I can't see anything, so I've no idea if I'm close or anything. This is a bit narrower. Oh, that's one. Okie dokie. Let's turn around. Hopefully now we'll manage a home. Home all. X, Y, Z. Here we go. Boom! It works. I think that's a big thank you to whoever left that suggestion about the holes at the bottom, and whoever suggestion it was to... I've missed out some screws. Oh, my Z motor mount is missing some screws. How did I miss those? Right, let's sort those out. I've done the ones in the bottom, but I've missed the ones in the front. This is going to be difficult. Where are my precious tweezers? Tweezers are like the best 3D printing tool I have, and I've lost them. No! No, not the tweezers! Anything but the tweezers. Where are they? I need them. Everyone panic! Oh, I've put them somewhere silly. Where have I put them? I had them, didn't I? Where have you gone? I think I have nuts in there, but I have no screws in there. I've lost my tweezers. Are they on a magnet somewhere? No. Found them! Got them. This is really difficult. Okay, I'm going to remove this door, I think, briefly before I accidentally snap it off. Removing the door is probably not something I want to do too many times because those hinges are threaded plastic, but hopefully we slide this way. That's one nut. There should be another one in here, tucked away. Yes. Okay, we have two nuts. We need to get them in the position. Yes. Kind of lost that second one, but one's definitely in the right place. I need to find out what screw length I need. Oh, it's amazing it's taken me this long to work this out. Considering this was assembled like right at the beginning, so it's been wrong the whole time. M3 by 8. Oh, what did I do? I put the whole bag of screws and stuff somewhere. Yeah. I find it interesting how people say, oh, the build for the 0.1, the V0 is more difficult. And having now done it myself, it's weird how people, I feel, are kind of blaming themselves for a difficult build. Like, in my mind, it's not a difficult build, it's just not as well designed. Obviously there are significant challenges when designing a printer this tiny. Which I do have an appreciation for. Oh. Okie dokie, that's that sorted. If nobody's tested the stock profiles in Super Slicer, I'm about to be the first person, because that's my plan. Yeah, I mean, considering I feel like I've done it at a reasonable pace, I'm rather happy with myself that I've not missed nuts. Okay. Hey, Mol. Okay, so now I think it's probably go to configuration. That's all good. Put bed location of the V2. Bed located V1, define 0, 0. The homing position is not the typical location of 0, 0, but at the maximum travel location. The actual numbers vary by printer site depending on bed location. The positional parameters may need to be adjusted to relocate a 0, 0 position point. Start by rerunning G28XY to home X and Y. After this, the nozzle will be at the maximum XY, as defined by position max. Using the Octoprint on main cell controls, move the nozzle to the front left corner of the bed. If the front left corner of the bed cannot be reached within 3 to 5 millimeters, the bed location needs to be physically adjusted if possible. Move the bed on the extruders or move the extruders to, okay, so we want Y to go to 0, and we want X to go to 0. Ooh, that made a weird... maybe I shouldn't have gone quite so. Let's just go to normal position again. I think it might have been more sensible to go to Y15, X15, and then we just jog them slightly. That's literally the end of the rail. I feel like that whole rail could do with being shoved this way. Because if that goes any further, that's going to come off the end. That's literally hanging off the end of the rail. What was the maximum max? 120. That's on the bed. And so it's like 7 to 120 is about the range. I want to move this rail, but I'm not sure if that's a good idea. Because when it's at 120 and it's homing, I've got like 5 mil of rail left. Ooh, I want to move it. I really want to move it. How long have we got? An hour and 22 we're on. Where's the alignment tools? Chuck them all in a bag earlier because I'm not going to need these anymore. And now, of course, I need them. Move that to 50. Yes, so I've just moved that whole X-rail a little bit that way. For some reason, the way it was set up, the X-rail was right against this, that end. So it's jammed right up against that end, which put a big gap here, which means the rail could basically slide off the end. So now it's a bit more neutral. I mean, weirdly, we want 0, 0 down here, don't we? And it's actually at 4. So if we tighten this by 4 millimeters, will that not give us what we want? Oh, this was not very easy to adjust, was it? This is super wibbly wobbly. And the screw that adjusts it is right underneath it. Oh. Hopefully that's going to work. And I send X back to 10. Okay. X2. No. I need to flipping draw this down. This is confusing the hell out of me for some reason. Let's home these again. So let's do Y. Maybe Y will be a bit easier. So Y starts at 120. So that's 110 of movement, and we still need another 10, basically. Okay, so that's fine. That Y position I'm happy with. 0 is on the bed. So Y is all okay. What if we go to 110? 110 is even on the bed. So the bed is actually from... Oh, wrong one. The bed is from like 0 to 118. That's fine, I think. Stop by rerunning to the... After this, the nozzle will be at maximum XY. Using Octoprint, can move the nozzle to the front left corner of the bed. If from the front left corner of the bed cannot be reached. Once the nozzle is close to the front left corner of the bed, but still on the bed, send M114 command to retrieve the current location. If X and Y offsets are less than 1 mm and 0 is over the bed, nothing needs to be changed. Yeah, there's no way I can move the bed, like, it's just not happening. There was no option for how you can position the bed, it's just, that's where it goes. You'd have to basically move the frame, but that's not just like a, that's not a quick job. So I'm not really understanding this. Let's go to like X10, Y10. Ooh. Oh yeah, I can't get it. So that's on the bed. And that looks like a good position on the bed. So if we send M114, we've got X is 4, Y is 3. Current minus the result. So we're going to go in here. We're changing position max. So we're going to take 4 off of that, make that 116. Just add a comment as well. That is 120mm minus 4mm. It's obvious, but that helps. Y. It's 117. 120 minus 3. If 00 is over the bed, the distance from the home point to the front left must be increased. If 00 is past the bed, the distance must be decreased. The amount is determined by the output of M114. update position max and position end stop for both X and Y. So this also needs to be 117, and this also needs to be 116. If the Z end stop pin location has been previously defined, be sure to refollow process to set the Z end stop pin location, if applicable, which it isn't. So let's home everything, and then we'll whiz over to 0, and it should be right there in the front of the bed. How has it managed to move out of range? Huh? That's confused. Z120. Home, this, Z safe home. Well, this seems daft. Yeah. Thank you, Locke. I've literally just noticed the same. So we now shut that there. We'll chuck that over there. We've got nice 0, 0 right in the front corner of the bed. Probe, PID, tune, bed leveling, bed screws, bed tilt. Depending on the print type and capability, the following commands are used. Bed screws adjust. I'm glad I managed it in a couple of minutes. So I'm going to adjust this a bunch down. Let's not go too far, let's try that. Well, that's rather close, excellent. Should be able to do the rest from adjusting the bed screws. In fact, I want the bed a little bit further up, so I want that screw a little bit further up. Let's go Z. That should be better. Right, so now we're going to do some bed screw adjusting, I think. The VORON uses manual bed leveling. Small enough and thick enough that mesh or other types per print leveling are not needed. There's a macro to help with the leveling process. Bed screws adjust. This tool will move the printer's nozzle to each screw XY location and then move the nozzle to a Z equals 0.3 height. At this point, one can use the paper test to adjust the bed screws directly under the nozzles. See the information described in the paper test, but adjust the bed screw instead of commanding the nozzle to different heights. Adjust the bed screw until there is a small amount of friction when pushing the paper back and forth. This process will move all 3 mounting points of your bed closer to the nozzle, so it is critical that you rerun the Z offset adjust after completing this section. Once the screw is adjusted so that a small amount of friction is felt, run either accept or adjusted command. Use the adjusted command if the bed screw needed an adjustment. Use the accept command if no significant adjustment is necessary. Both commands will cause the tool to proceed to the next screw. When adjusted command is used, the tool will schedule an additional cycle of bed screw adjustments. The tool completes successfully when all bed screws are verified to not require any significant adjustments. One can use the abort command to exit the tool early. After it has been run, rerun Z end stop calibrate command to bring your nozzle to the correct Z equals 0 position. Z end stop calibrate. When was I supposed to do that? Okay, well, let's give this a go. Hopefully we have enough. Let's use this paper. Adjust it. Adjusted. Is that even on the flipping bed screw? Kind of. Adjusted. Adjusted. Accept. 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 All good. Accept. Oh, did I have to do? Save config. Nice. Looking pretty good. Text is too large for me to be able to read easily. Counterintuitive, I know, but code gantry level we're not doing. Preparation, ZN stop calibrate. Run D28, ZT adjust, all the others run D28. Move the nozzle to the centre of the bed, clear and store. So move the nozzle, we've just done this. Oh, we have to do, oh, we need to do PID tuning. We should have done that calibration hot. Okay, it says, well, if you haven't done it, set your extruder to 245 and your bed to 100. Well, this seems a bit risky, but... It's also very close to the nozzle. That's weird. Yes, expected. No. I think we need to move this. It's always going to do that. Do we need? If that screw goes higher, it's going to probe earlier and the bed will be further away from the nozzle, so you'd have to extend the screws. So you'd end up just moving them both together. So it's always going to hit the nozzle when you're home, which is kind of weird. Ooh, this smells funky. Hopefully that's a good kind of funky. That was some serious stinking. I think we should get some doorage back in play. That's the technical term for a door. And the lid. Maybe this way around. It's a bit stiff, that tube and everything. If you don't screw down the lid, it doesn't really stay down. Oh, that's gotta. It has got to be that way because there's a recess for the screw. There we go. Right. I'm going to have a little break for 2 minutes. We'll have a quick ad spot and then there might be a bit of a blank screen for 30 seconds until I come back. But I'll see you then.
This video would not have been possible without our sponsor, LDO Motors. LDO Motors are well known for their quality stepper motors that feature in many 3D printers. But did you know they also do complete kits for VORON 3D printers? Their VORON v0.1 kit has everything you need, with the exception of the printed parts, taking sourcing from your living nightmare to the easiest part of the process. LDO's focus on quality means that you don't need to worry about component choice. This kit includes genuine Bondtech gears, Big Tree Tech control board, Phaetus hot end, pre-installed Kinovo heater with thermal fuse, stainless steel linear rails, and a beautifully anodized extrusion frame available in 7 different colours. With every kit you'll also get their brass heat insert tool, which, when fitted to a soldering iron, is the ideal partner for adding threaded inserts to your printed parts. If you're after an entryway into high-performance 3D printing, check out the VORON v0.1 kit from LDO Motors via the link in the video description, or carry on watching to find out more.
Right. Things are smelling toasty. Bed's still only at 83. Heating up is a little bit slower than previously. Flip top would be quite good, and opening back would also be quite good. Because having to screw on a panel with moving nuts all over the place is just really not ideal. It's surprising the amount of noise that door stops. If you know the name of that mod for the VORON 0, that would be useful. I'm looking for mods. I've decided, well, my thought process, I should say, is that a good way to test a printer is obviously to print things, but it's really easy, I find, to get stuck with what the dickens to print. So I'm thinking mods for the printer is a really good thing to print, because then when I've done doing the sort of reviewy bits, we've then immediately got all the parts we need to start doing modifications. Bada bing, bada boom. It's like 2 jobs in 1. Efficient. Can't really see much at the moment. Oh, we're at 98 degrees. We're getting there. That took a little while, didn't it? From 2109. It takes basically 10 minutes to heat up. So now we've got to do our VORON hinged top hat. Hinged underscore top underscore hat. Thank you. Hopefully lots of these parts can be printed on this printer. So we're going to do this thing that we've just done all again. Same everything. Does seem to have made a weird clicking noise on the edge of the bed, the corner of the bed. I wonder if we can get it to go. No, we're about the limit of that homing. Yeah. Another heart mod. They've done a lot of mods, that's for sure. So now we're going middle of the bed, that's what we want, isn't it? 55-ish. 55-ish. Move it down to 2, and move it down to, that's fine. And then we're going to do then stop calibrate. Where's the paper paper? Paper paper? Piece of paper I just used. That feels about perfect, just like that, actually. Maybe a touch more. Maybe a touch more. That's nice, I like that. No, maybe a touch more. That's good. To home everything. Nice hot paper. We did save config. Yeah, I did the restart. Steps. Should we hope that we're good enough for E-steps, or should we do the calibration? Let's do calibration. Why the hell not? It's a bit more challenging, isn't it? Not too bad. So, time to get some filament loaded. Let's stick that extruder at 245. Stick that to the middle of the bed-ish. Oh. Gonna use some ABS because, well, because it's a VORON. Actually, let's give it a bit more. I need my calibration tube. Where's my calibration tube? That's the question. Right here. Boom. Filming in for the first time. Hopefully this goes. Oh, so Daisy, that's all exploded off the spool. Doesn't help I've got a big steel tube on it. I'm not going to use the tube at the moment for the calibration. I'll give it a turn around when I'm actually printing. Thank you for the suggestion though, it's a good idea. So, question is, does retract, and does extrude, extrude? No. It's the other bloody way around. Right, X, Y, Z, Z, extruder, step, direction, bosh. Yeah, you guys busy chatting around yourself and not paying attention? I don't know. What is this? You won't be allowed in my class again if you don't pay attention. Oh dear. So now that that's on the right, let's get this back to 240-ish. And now we should be able to re-extrude. Good news is that spring is working. Bad news is it sounds like we're getting a lot of water and bubblies, but that's not the fault of the printer, so we don't need to worry about that at the moment. So got my calibration tube, so that's going to sit there. Cut that off exactly 150 millimeters. And then Klipper is the thing. Where'd you get your shirt made? You know what? That's a really good question. And if I knew, I'd tell you. I've been trying to get some other stuff made recently. I can't find out where I got it made. I'm trying to get some decent quality merchandise with my logo on it, so for me to wear and also for other people to purchase. That's a good question. Give me a hashtag yes in the chat if you would be interested in buying a premium quality Vector 3D hoodie, polo shirt or t-shirt. Because I'm thinking of doing it. Adam is the best dressed 3D printing YouTuber. Only because I've got a shirt. That's literally the only thing that I bothered to do. So we have to do 50 millimeters, don't we? And I'm going to slow it down a bit because we don't want any chance of any skip steps or anything. So we do this twice. The bar is very low. Nice. So, yeah, there's so much I want to do, but the difficult bit for me, in my mind, is making sure that the quality is decent. When I get that bit sorted, I feel like we get like a fluid joke, an in-joke, a meme, whatever you call it, and then I can just go back to the same supplier with the same quality, make the artwork, and we just kind of do it. Whereas at the moment, I'm like, what t-shirt do I want? There's like 50 different types. How good are they? Do they fall apart? Is the quality, like colour, going to be good? Do they disintegrate after you wash them? Do they last more than 10 washes, or do they fade? Like, so that's 49.5 millimeters. Yeah, measured from the right spot, 49.5 millimeters. So we can do a quick adjustment in Extruder. I always forget this. Rotation distance. Previous rotation distance times actual over requested. So actual was 100.5 divided by 100, and then we'll multiply that by 22.23. 22.34115. Oopsie daisy. Christian would. We got one person that's suggesting a t-shirt or other merchandise. I'd have to do it on like a pre-order system because I don't have the capital to just like buy 100 t-shirts and wait for people to buy them. We'd have to get like a group buy for it to work, I think. Well, it wouldn't be like a group buy. It'd be basically a pre-order and then I'd buy them when we got enough pre-orders, kind of thing, maybe. Everybody panic. I've only ever done that once. If I keep doing it, then we can make it a thing. But just doing something once, I don't think really counts. Apart from the fluid, I think that was easily worth having. That was just so good. I think we're ready to print. So I'm just going to take that off. I'm hoping the thickness of this is not significantly different, although now I think about it, it probably is. I'm going to cut off this tube right down here, and we're going to hope to all hell that this going to work. Ooh, what have I just done? Okay. Hi from Egypt. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. It is a cool looking build, isn't it? These little V0, V0s are pretty fancy. You did indeed miss quite a lot. I've just done all of the firmware configuration and setup and stuff. So that took me basically 2 hours. I didn't do any more in terms of doing the Z rails. I basically just accepted where it was and loosened the screws on the bed a little bit. So we'll see if that has a significant impact on performance. So I do need to now try and get some panels on, otherwise we're going to be printing in the cold, which it won't like. So while this won't be on properly, it will be sort of attached. So there's like, the only screws that you don't have to adjust are some threaded inserts at the back of the top corner plastic parts. So I'm hoping I can get screws into those. Nope, at the moment I'm struggling to find that. For some reason. Do I just need a longer screw? So there you go, that's on. Not properly, but it is on. That's sort of the door. Well, that's definitely the door. And that's, ow, that's me pinching my finger in the lid. That is the lid on. So that is the whole jammy ready to go. 83 people on YouTube and 1 on Twitch. Yeah, we got an MVP on Twitch. They've not said anything for the whole stream, but they're watching. So hello to that one person on Twitch. It says there's 6 people in the chat, but there's only 1 person watching, so I don't know how that works. So we need to slice something. I reckon this looks like a good thing to do, and that is this. So this is a VORON cube thing. It says it's going to take an hour. It is not very fast. I'm tempted to scale it down to make it 20 millimeters. 32 minutes. I think that should be okay. It's definitely not very fast, is it? I mean, I'm sure this can go significantly faster. But this is the profile from the default configuration wizard for Super Slicer. So, never know. Maybe the estimation is just really slow. What we can do actually in printer settings, we can use the configured settings to add a physical printer, and we can add a Klipper 102, 168, 109. Test works. Okay. So now we can send directly to the printer. Right, here we are. The first print! Is it heating up? Because it's going to take a while to do that. Wrong profile. Not that, this. We're there, yes, I did remember. Well done me. Oh, definitely do updates if you're following along. I forgot to do updates, so I'll do those soonish. So I'm a bit worried the first layer is going to be cack. So we may be doing this first print more than once, because if the first layer is rubbish, I'll probably stop the print straight away, get it reheating again and try and improve that first layer so we can reliably see the first print actually happen rather than just a pile of stringing all over the bed. I'm so pumped. I did not send it to the printer, correct. I'm kind of waiting for the temperatures to go up. I suppose. Yeah, that's kind of why I didn't do the updates right now. I had thought about that earlier. And make it sound like I had no idea what I was doing, but... okay, let's send it and see what it does. It may do some weird stuff anyway, so let's at least watch it do that. Let's just check filament, extruder, first layer 100, print setting, cooling. I put a bit of cooling on. We'll see how that goes. May need a bit more cooling, but I'm not sure. We are nearly 22k. I think we're actually like super duper close. The 21900 is obviously the rounded figure. Yay! Speak of. Thank you very much. Where is my... Here we go. Code. Start. Go. Unfortunately, we're going to have to deal with refractions. With lots of clear panels, it is a bit easier to watch that first layer go down. Oh, we're waiting for something. What are we waiting for? Here we go. That's miles away from the bed. There's also no filament coming out. Why is there no filament coming out? I guess when I did that filament swap, I didn't get it to actually come out the end. I think it might not be gripping any of the filament. Hello. There we go. Transparent filament. So Oh, we haven't done a PID tune. We should really have done that. The temperature's going to be all over the place. But I'll have to wait for it to cool all the way down to do that now. And we're already at 2 hours, 20 minutes. We're just going to have to go for it. Oh, that's nice. Chop the filament off. Come on, down, 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 down. We're on it, we're on it, we're on it. Feels good. Feels good, looks good, seems good. All the good. My main worry is extruder tension. This is the problematic bit. No accelerometer wizardry. You mean the ADXL input shaping? It's a no on that. We've just gone basic setup at the moment. This is first print, not last print or full review or anything like that. This is just, we finished building it, let's celebrate by trying to print something. I haven't even done a PID tune, exactly. But we will have a first print, so. Fortunately, it looks like the, you see the PID graph here, the temperature graph rather, it's definitely fluctuating. It's not good, but it's going to be acceptable, I think. It's not going to, probably want that. I think it's going to be good enough for me. Ooh, the fans are doing some weird pulsing. Sorry, it didn't. When you're done, do a Z offset, apply end stop, and then save config and apply your baby stepping. Ooh. I don't really want it to apply the baby stepping, to be honest. I just need to do the leveling properly for this bed, I think. That'll do. Amazingly, I think it actually will do. It's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. I think no, it's not that the fans don't like PWM. It's that it's not. I mean, it is a PWM, but it's not a typical PWM where you would, like with LED lights, you just flash it so fast that you don't see it, and obviously the time on, time off, etc. But with fans, if you try and pulse them really, really fast, they just make a huge buzzing sound. So you basically turn them on and off at a slower rate. But I think this frequency for the PWM is a little bit slow because you can hear them ramping up and down. If you can get it just at the point, then it kind of hovers along rather than fluctuating so much, I think. But then they're very small fans and won't have much inertia, so... Been working on VCore 3 since July. You must have had some changes and stuff, because that's like 5 months, isn't it? I think the V Mini will be a while. I'm hoping to hear something when I get something come my way. And if I don't have any NDA or anything, then I'll be able to let you know when that happens. Is this planned to be a long-term use machine for you? Well, yes and no. I mean, the machine that I end up using tends to be whatever ends up reliable and easy to use, because when I'm in a really lucky position to have access to a fair selection of printers, if I'm trying to just do a print job and I'm not like doing any promotion or anything on specific machines, then I'll do whatever's easiest for me generally. Like, why spend ages faffing around with one printer when you expect a failure, when you can just go to one that you know will just do the job you want to do? So, given that I now have this printer, I will be doing testing, and there may not be a full review or anything. We'll see. There may be. Depends how many people are interested in it. I know there's been a lot of kits around already, so I think a lot of people already have their opinions on what's worth having and what's not. But now it's here, I will start using it, and if it turns out to be an absolute pain to use, then I'll probably stop using it, and that's just generally how these things go. I'm seeing things that are not perfect, but I'm seeing reasons for those things, so. Print ABS parts for other kits you have built. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, so this printer kind of, from the perspective of the VORON team, I believe was intended to be the first printer you get for VORON, and then this can print the parts for all the others, which is a lovely idea. But now I didn't do this one first. I already have the 2.4, which is obviously hugely capable of printing ABS. It's not a problem at all. So, I mean, the Ratrig VCore 3, that can print ABS. Definitely ABS Plus pretty easily, and ABS I'm sure as well. Temperature-wise, it's all fine. It just doesn't have an enclosure at the moment. I shall check your message later, thank you. Yeah, green and black's turned out really well, hasn't it? I mean, hats off to the LDO team. I mean, the frame is absolutely stunning. It kind of means I didn't really need accent parts. I could have quite happily done this without having that extruder in green, because the frame is just so nice. You could just do all the parts in black. It'd save you having to buy 2 different coloured spools if you're printing your own parts, that is. I feel like it doesn't need the accent colour, if that makes sense. Like, you could still do it, I guess, for the VORON logo or something on the front. And it is quite nice having a different colour, different to the fans. It kind of gives it a bit of accent. Maybe a darker green that's a bit closer to the frame. It's quite difficult to see from the pictures I had how green this green is. And although it's in the right light, it looks quite a light green. From a lot of angles, it's quite dark. So if I knew that, I probably would have chosen a slightly different green. This green's really luminous. I mean, the filament green turned out brighter than I expected, and the frame turned out darker than I expected, which is why they don't really match very well. But I think it's still pretty cool. It still looks absolutely fantastic. Yeah, they are best friends. Those two, the Rat Rig and the VCore 3 are besties, definitely. Yes, so Alexander's just there mentioned, have you ever found eSign ABS Plus having bad layer adhesion when not printed in an enclosure? And I've actually found that sometimes even when it is in an enclosure, even when printing at normal temperatures with normal amounts of cooling, one day it'll print fine, the next day it'll just print rubbish. Like the print will look good, but the layer adhesion will just be absolutely terrible. So that's why for building this, I printed all the parts in ABS Plus, and then I was starting to print some substitute parts for the VORON 2.4. And I used those first, and they just kind of started crumbling in the assembly video. You could probably see at some point when that happened. And so I went back and then reprinted all of these parts in normal ABS because I was worried I'd be like halfway through this assembly, which is obviously sponsored by LDO, so I don't want to just mess it up. And I'd have an issue where I can't actually assemble the printer because I don't have the printed parts because everything I touch just falls apart. So it was a big concern for me. Up until then, I was recommending ABS Plus, and I don't think I can now, mainly on the basis of consistency. Sometimes it turns out absolutely fantastic, and other times it just really doesn't. So yeah, a bit of a difficult one to recommend really for me. It definitely is easier to print than a full ABS, if you like, because it is a modified ABS. But if that significantly impacts the quality of the parts to the point where it's not really worth having ABS, like it doesn't really matter how easy it was to print. If the part's useless, the part's useless. ASA is also a bit of a layer adhesion nightmare. It's just, layer adhesion on ASA is just really weak. It really is, unfortunately. So in terms of finding other filaments, I have actually found now a sponsor for doing the VCore 3 VORON 2.4 comparison video. So because obviously that's going to take a huge amount of work, I really had to get a sponsor to make sure I could actually afford the time to do all the comparisons I need to. And that filament supplier provides filament that could potentially be a good alternative to ABS Plus, so I'll be doing a bit of evaluation on that as I do this review, and then I can obviously recommend that specifically rather than just maybe doing the agreed promotion stuff. So that could be really interesting. Yeah, ABS Plus has just been a bit of a nightmare at the moment. ABS, I mean, my recommendation directly is ABS, like just do ABS. But it's not that easy, is it? I think we all know that printing ABS is not just set it and forget it. You've got to get the temperatures, you've got to get the enclosure of some sort to prevent things, like, you know, air, wind, whatever. You'll find out who the sponsor is when that's appropriate. Obviously this is sponsored by LDO, so I'm not going to mention anyone else as sponsors, like it's just not appropriate. But you'll find out on the video, and you'll have all that information when it is needed. A TPU Voron. You say that, I'm convinced it's really not that bad an idea. Because TPU, as long as you go for something that's like quite hard TPU, like 90 plus, excuse me, 90 plus sure hardness, then by the time you've got like a few walls and some dense infill, it's a pretty solid part, and they're basically indestructible. Ooh, it's doing some pulsy fans. Noise level's really quite impressive. That is good. Can be difficult to get noise levels right. Enclosure's definitely helping. Verisure TPU is pretty cool, especially in, yeah, when you've got the right application, it's like it's just the thing you need. Peak is like 600 pounds a kilo, isn't it? Absolute bananas. Like, if that's what you want to do, is what you want to do. Like, everyone's got a different budget. I don't think there's any real disadvantage to using Peak. It's just bloody expensive. I have 1 rat rig and 2 Vorons. That's correct. I mean, I'm not averse to doing more rat rigs. Building printers is just so goddamn fun. I think I need to get on and do some video making rather than just live streaming all the time. I've done some really intense live streaming recently. I feel like I've gone from one straight into another, into another, into another, so. I think getting a good comparison of these two, I'm thinking it might take me about, well, 2 weeks solid at least. So there's a lot of work to do for that. Yeah, that's the Minion, Alexander, that other people keep mentioning. The Minion is the little one that kind of looks like the Prusa Mini, but also really more like the Ormerod Pro. I had an idea the other week that I'm not going to do, but I thought it could be fun, is to try and build a printer from like 2011, 2012 era, back when everything was just super janky. Like, not the electronics, we'd have some like modern electronics because it's just not worth it to build a printer which ends up deliberately being rubbish. But just, I think it could be fun to do that, but I think it would be a huge amount of work and actually probably not that entertaining. It'd be kind of cool to see the differences, but I think there's still people around with old printers, so they could probably just like share pictures of what they have. Yeah, Mendel 90, or what was the other one? I can't remember the other one. Yeah, I mean, there's... No, I didn't really want a more retro printer. I just want, I don't know. I thought it would be interesting, given I've spent a lot of time now building like the most modern printers, to build one that's like just super old. But like sourcing all the parts and stuff separately and with maybe sporadic bombs and difficult instructions, it would just could be more of a nightmare than it's worth. And the thing is, I don't think I'd be able to get anyone on board to kind of sponsor it because it's not a new product or anything that they have necessary interest in promoting. So. We're at 21,958 subscribers, so we're 42 away from 22k. There was an SLS DIY machine from a company, I think it's called Sinterit. I might be completely wrong with the company name. I know there was definitely a DIY kit build SLS machine, but it wasn't cheap. It was like 3 or 4 grand, I think, maybe more. That's £3,000 or £4,000. I did ask them if they wanted to send it across, but it was a few years ago. My subscriber base was not very big. Yeah, 5k. So yeah, like it exists, but it's so expensive, and the build volume is teeny tiny. I think with SLS, oh excuse me, turns out I'm quite tired. With SLS, it's a bit like having resin printing. It's not just the printer. You've got to have ways to like deal with all the powder and that kind of stuff as well. So tiny M. What is a tiny M? This is one adorable looking print. I think this back panel could probably do with a fan of some sort. While it is kind of separate from... Oh, that's mains in there. Shouldn't stick my fingers in too deep. Yeah, it might be good to get a fan. Doesn't need to be anything particularly massive, I don't think, but something could be good. Is the extrusion on your insert jig salvaged off an Ender 3? It is in an Ender 3 or other Ender 3 based style printer, yes. I think it was an actual Ender 3, but I can't remember. I've used it quite a lot now, that thing. Still got the stepper motor counterweight. 90% off an Ender 3. Maybe I should make a video as like, how to turn your Ender 3 into a cheap rig. Hi Jason, yes, we got it all going. Look at it. It's so good. It's looking absolutely fantastic. We got the stickers on as well. I like those. Yeah, the green. I think your green frame is absolutely amazing. I'm blown away by that. It just looks so good. The colours just Really nice, it's really consistent. Almost don't need accent parts. I was just saying earlier, because the frame like is the accent parts, so you don't have to necessarily print in 2 other colours. So I mean, I've obviously got the extruder there in green, but I mean, I think the whole thing would look just as good just having all the parts in black and then just having a beautiful like accented frame just to set it off. Doesn't have an accent, he's British. Oh dear, I love it. I'm not sure E3D would be interested, to be honest. Jason, have you had, as other people have asked there, have you had any reports of spring tension? So I've actually not, I'm not using the spring that you provided. I've not tried it during printing, but during the assembly, when it kind of tells you during the assembly to check that everything on the extruder rotates fine as you're assembling, and it was just, as soon as I put that idler in, the whole thing just jammed up. So I've gone with a weaker spring. It seems to be okay. But this one seemed like it was causing some slightly overzealous idler tension. Like even on the lightest amount, like just threading it in enough to hold it, it was enough to jam everything. So not sure quite what was going on there. I've got some other feedback, just little things I'll send to you separately as well. I'm on the V0.1 to put an E3D tool changer. I think you might struggle to put a tool changer in this tiny box. The thumbnail on Extruder, they have had complaints and we are improving it now. Excellent, that's good to hear. Yes, that is the exact spring we're talking about. The one that's on the side there with the thumb nut, yeah. I've ended up, yeah, just using a different one and some washers until I felt the tension was about appropriate. This one does seem very stiff. Is it an ABS cube? It is indeed. It's a Voron, so you've got to print an ABS. That's, well, obviously you don't. But I think you'd be a bit daft to buy this printer and then use PLA, given that it's fully enclosed. TARDIS blue says bigger on the inside. Oh, that would be, oh, that needs to happen. Just someone needs to design a police box enclosure for the the V0. Oh, that'd be brilliant. I bet so many people just wouldn't understand, but that would just be fantastic. It'd be quite good as like an April Fool's, and you're like, this new V0 upgrade allows you to print parts that are bigger than the actual printer. You can like do visual effects to open the door and just pull out a print that's just like 4 times the size of the printer. There you go, cut it short. Yeah, that cutting it shorter was I was going to try that. I just didn't want to permanently make a change until we'd had some verification on what works and what doesn't. But yeah, you basically just cut off maybe one rotation. Or get a Bontech one. Thanks for the info, Jason. Much appreciated. Why can't other manufacturers be so useful? I'm sure if we had, if this was like something else, you can imagine, can't you? It's like, I complain about a part that doesn't work quite right, and they're like, oh no, you're doing it wrong. Whereas it's just like, oh yeah, seems to be not quite right, we'll fix that. It's just, that's what you get. Apparently I can create a poll right in the chat. It's not a big problem, don't worry about it. The most important thing is that you're looking to solve it and not going to pretend it doesn't exist. That's, I think it's fantastic. Don't worry about it. It's a blooming fantastic kit with a blooming huge amount of parts. To have one thing that's not quite perfect, blooming fantastic. I'm going to create a poll, I just want to test it. I'm pretty sure I couldn't do this yesterday. Pretty sure this thing is brand new. Everyone vote in the poll. Click the thing if you've got the thing. I have no idea how it works, but... on the tidy scale. It's pretty bloody tidy, isn't it? I'd say with all the cable management stuff that LDO have kind of added in to make that all better, with all their harness and stuff included as well, it's pretty disgustingly tidy, isn't it? I'd say that's pretty good. Oh, yes. Which kit would you recommend, the 2.4 or the 0? I mean, they're totally different. Depends what you want. If you want a big printer, you want a 2.4. If you only need a small printer, then a 0. That's... so this is not a full-time... this is a 20mm Voron cube, so I've shrunk it down from 30 to 20mm. and it's the stock profile for super slicers, so no tuning, no speed increases. Getting to about the end now. I think it's somewhere in the region of 32 minutes, 34 minutes. 34 minutes so far. Layer 100 of 100, so 99% complete. So basically 35 minutes. It can definitely go much faster, but this was the stock profile, so. I did ask on Discord if anyone had like a good first profile to use, and nobody really responded, so I just went with the default one. I mean, acceleration is 1500, speed is like between 50 and 100 depending on the part. Here we go. All done. Gonna have to get my gloves because this bed is going to be hot. How adorable! I really like this textured bed as well. I'll hide that for a second and I'll show you in just a bit. Oh, did I just ask in the wrong place? I think I did ask in multiple places. Whoops, daisy. So, non-coordinated glove. Oh yeah, sorry, I don't have a green glove. So we definitely got some problems. Let me show you. I think I know exactly where these problems are coming from. Oh, looks like the poll worked. In PLA or ABS, 77% say ABS, 75% say ABS, 40 votes. Fantastic. Can I just add another poll on top of it? No. I can end the poll and then presume I can start another one. That's pretty cool. I like it. So, it's this way up. Let's move the printer nice and close to the camera. We'll move this up to here. Scooch that over here. Zoom into here. So, as you can see, the walls are a little bit wobbly. And I'm pretty sure that's because of the bed. And I think maybe I didn't retighten the nut quite properly. Official Discord when? Oh, Vector 3D official Discord. Don't know. I don't know how to run a Discord channel. So we've definitely got big problems from something being really, really wobbly. It might be the extrusion. It's possible. But I don't think so. I think it's the wobbly bed. Because it is rather wobbly. I mean, it's really, really wobbly. Top layer is super duper smooth, so that's quite nice. I think everything else has actually come out really good, but obviously no PID. The PID on the bed didn't seem to be a problem. I mean, PID is enabled, it's just not tuned. But temperature-wise, it fluctuated by like a fraction of a degree, so I don't think it's going to be that. The extruder fluctuated more. Maybe that could have had an impact, but that was between 49.7 degrees up to 50.4. So even without PID, it is maybe fluctuating 1 degree peak to peak. Belt tension maybe? Belts are pretty tight. I'll have a fiddle around. It's obviously not something I need to solve immediately. It's obviously not perfect, but I don't think that's going to be a long-term issue. I think that's just a first print configuration sort of issue. Generally, not worried. This is the downside of a first print. Obviously, it's very exciting to get a print done, show off the hours that we've just spent building the printer. But it does mean that not everything is tuned, if at all, hence no PID. But it does mean we get a cool print and we can celebrate all of our efforts. That built a freaking 3D printer again. And what a beautiful machine it is. I did do flow calibration, E-steps, so filament volume should be okay. But ABS does tend to over extrude, so that would be problematic as well. We're not still going, we're finished. This is the end now, literally right now. We are done. We are finished. We are happy. We are VORON. We are VORON. Oh, isn't it just adorable? What a cute little printer. This is like the printer you can actually assemble on this desk, because everything else has just been like, takes half the desk, fills half the video frame, super difficult to film. Yeah, slicer profile is going to obviously impact it. So normally with ABS I would have extrusion multiplier at like 0.94, 0.95-ish, because it just seems to, maybe it's just expanding more than other materials. But yeah, generally I have it a little bit under extruded. A €5 tip. Thank you very much. From Holger Chico. Sorry, probably didn't pronounce that very well. Did my best. Do you think you can get higher speeds on your 0.1 compared to your 0.4? Ooh, I thought you were just going to say higher speeds. Yes, we can definitely do higher speeds than what we've done. Do I think I could do higher speeds than 2.4? I'm not sure. Obviously there's less mass, but we've got smaller motors, but they're long motors. I'm not sure what the torque rating comparison is. I mean, people have printed very, very fast on V0s. I think the current world record is a V0, so I guess there's every chance that it can go faster. I don't know. If you could have only one, which one would you pick? Oh, I don't know yet. That's too difficult a question. Comrade Jordan, welcome. Oh, I'm so happy. It's actually quite stressful building a printer and trying to get it all done, and then it's all done and it's like, weight off my shoulders. It is complete. It is beautiful. It is working. It is not perfect, but we know why. Well, we don't know exactly why, but it's fine. It's a first print. If your first print is perfect, you've probably done more wrong than if it's not perfect. Yeah. No, I'm going to stick with that. That makes total sense. Said nobody ever. Can V0 go fast like V2? Yes, 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 yes. Are you going to do a tuning stream? I've got... This is a good question. I've got the rat rig to tune now. I've got this to tune. The rat rig and VORON 2.4 are going back into priority mode now because I really want to get that comparison done. I think a lot of people are interested in seeing it. I'm interested in seeing the results of kind of some more detailed comparison. I have quite a lot of thoughts to share. So I think that could be really interesting. I think it will be very interesting, I should say. So that is my focus now. We may have other streams still, but as I said, that's going to be the focus. I want to get that done as soon as possible, but I won't rush it. It will be done right, it will be done fully, and it will probably be a really long video. It might be a video that I do a written article with, because there's so much that I want to talk about that it just becomes very impractical to have in a video. We don't want like a feature-length video. So I might have like an accompanying article that you can go to see a little bit extra. Right, I think we're going to call it a day there. That's going to be the end of the V0 live streams. Of course, a massive thank you to LDO Motors for providing the kit and sponsoring this set of streams. It would not have been possible at all without them, so a big thank you. Of course, you can check that link in the video description, and there you can find like resellers and more information, bills of materials and all that kind of stuff. So not only will you know what you're going to get, you'll know where to get it from and how to build the slightly different things that they've done to make your building process just that little bit easier. So thank you all for watching. Hopefully this has been really useful for people following along with the build. It is quite a difficult build, and I don't think that's down to the user having difficulty. I think that's down to it being a very complex design in a very small space, and it is not a perfect design. So there are things that you do have to work around a little bit. But overall, it clearly works. So I'm very pleased with it. John Stern, thank you very much for the tip, $5. Congratulations, and thank you. This will be very helpful to me. Good, I'm glad to hear it. It's been very useful for me too. It gives me an opportunity to learn more about Vorons, more about Klipper and fluid and installing and configuration and all this kind of stuff. It's always worth doing. So yes, that's going to be it for me today. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, whenever that's going to be. I don't know yet. Sometime soon. I'll try to notify you as best you can, and I'll try not to do them too early in the morning. Thank you.